So February's been a little bit of an interesting month. The month started off great, and then the last two weeks of February, 3 weeks, stream was a little bit all over the place. We are moving house at the moment. So whilst we were super close to finishing 2 games, we actually only finished 1 this month. But let's talk about all the games I played in February. And it might have only been 1 game, but it was a brilliant fucking game. We've been playing this game for a couple months, and we finally finished it on my final stream for February, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. If you're super big into Pokemon, you may have heard of this game. It's one of the most popular entries in the franchise, but it is unfortunately a GameCube exclusive, never got ported elsewhere, and this was the game that actually broke my emulating V card. I own the previous game, Pokemon Colosseum, and as much as I would have loved to own this game physically as well, it is $600. Since the Wii and the GameCube are region locked, I need a PAL version of this game, and unfortunately a loose disc goes for about 600 Australian dollars. If you want this game in a case with a manual, you're paying about 800 Australian dollars, which is fucking absurd. So I did bite the bullet and played this one on PC. But that does not detract from my gameplay experience at all. There are a little bit of stutters in the game, but that's because my computer's garbage. Talking about the actual game itself, this is a 9 out of 10 Pokemon game. I think the only thing stopping this from being a 10 out of 10 Pokemon game for me is that it could have been a little bit longer. We finished it in just under 30 hours, which for a Pokemon game is pretty short. But I do think the pacing of the game itself was really well done, and honestly, if it were a little bit longer, I worry that that may have just detracted points anyway, but this is a brilliant game. The story takes place, I think it's 5 years after the events of Pokemon Colosseum. You play as a different character, but the story kind of continues on, so you revisit a lot of the same locations and meet a lot of the same characters as you did in Colosseum, which is super fun. And of course, Shadow Lugia is sick as fuck. But this game has some great Pokemon in it. My final team ended up consisting of actually a lot of my favorite Pokemon, which was really cool. And it is a good amount of challenging. I think up until the final area of the game, I didn't need to do any level grinding. I'd stayed pretty on par. I just did a little bit of grinding near the end because your opponents jump from about level 40 to level 50 fairly quickly. And the final boss fight, oh my god, was the most intense final boss fight I have had in a Pokemon game ever. You can watch the clip for it and the VOD on my YouTube if you're interested, but it was insane. If you can play this game, I do highly recommend it. There were also a lot of good quality of life improvements from Colosseum as well. They changed the purification system a little bit for the Pokemon to make it a lot easier. And everything just feels a lot more refined as well, which is nice. But there we go. That is unfortunately the only game I was able to finish in February. But we are, as I said, currently moving house, and hopefully there's only a week or 2 left of the actual moving and unpacking process before I'm settled in again, and streams can resume, fingers crossed, back on schedule, and we can finish more games in the month of March.